thank you for joining us today. During the webinar, you all will be muted. However, we will be monitoring the chat bar throughout the presentation, so please feel free to type in any questions you may have, and we will take some time during the meeting to address those questions as we go along. At the end of the webinar, we will also unmute everybody, and you will be given the opportunity to have a dialogue with us and ask questions and exchange information that way. The webinar will be recorded, and should be on our socialstudies.com/learning webpage within this next week. The presenter today is Kimberly Fudge. She is our Nystrom Education Curriculum Specialist. So I'm going to turn it over to Kimberly this morning. Kimberly?
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay, Cindy?
I can.
Okay, thank you for that introduction. As Cindy mentioned, my name is Kimberly Fudge, and I am the Curriculum Specialist for socialstudies.com, which is the new home of Nystrom Education. And who you just heard was, again, my awesome colleague, Cindy Gosser. She's the National Sales Coordinator. I am an experienced professional learning trainer. I've been training educators for 8 years. I love, love, love technology, and I love learning and teaching on our technology products because they are so engaging and they help build the necessary 21st century learning skills and many other skills that students need, that they will need to go forward. So I even like to use StrataLogica in my free time. So we're going to get started today, and I am going to log in, and I'm going to tell you a few things that I'm going to go over and cover today. We're going to go over the different grade-appropriate reference map series and content, historical maps for world and U.S. history, the toolbar, the dual map viewer, thematic maps, custom maps. We're going to do a quick run-through of our presentation and project features. And lastly, we will view our atlases, charts, and outline tabs as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Right now, I am on what we call the StrataLogica homepage. So if you see where under the Explore section right here, we see the Maps tab, the Atlases tab, the Charts tab, the Outline Maps tab, and the Library tab. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started with the Maps tab. And all of our maps that we have are grade and age appropriate. So we're going to go through the list of the maps that we have available, and we're also going to look at the legends for these maps as well. So we're going to start our map exploration at the early learning series. So we are going to go ahead and mute. If you guys can mute your lines, that'd be awesome. And so we're going to start here at the early learning series. Now this is our K1 series. And at this point, they're just really learning land and water. So this wouldn't have very much political information on it. But each map, as you see, there's regions that you can look at. You can click on the region, and it'll take you over to that region just by the click of a button. Now, every map, whether it's a reference map, a historical map, a thematic map, every map has a map legend. So we're going to take a look at this map legend for this early learning series. We're going to let's look at the coastline. So you'll notice this one has video, and if we had the speakers going, you would be able to hear the ocean line, the coastline. You can see the mountain ranges, and also an island. So I want to point out that each legend is an interactive legend. So the students can come here, they can see videos, they can see pictures. Some of the times there's just text, but it gives them more information and content on what they are looking at on the map. Okay, so this is the early learning series. We are going to jump in and we're going to go to the readiness series. Now this is the second, third grade series, and as you can tell, there's a little more political information on this map as they're getting deeper into information about other areas, especially besides the United States. And if we look at this legend here, now we'll take a look at a couple of pictures instead of videos. So here's a picture of a lake. It gives information on it. It also always gives a question to find it on the map so that the students understand what this is. We'll also look at a bay here, and it gives them information on that. So this is the readiness series. Again, this is the second, third grade series. Then we're going to go in and we're going to take a look at, and this is what we call our map chooser here. We're going to go ahead and look at the intermediate political series. And as you'll notice here, on the left-hand side, you'll notice now we're starting to see some thematics on the map. We see continents and oceans, population, wealth of countries. Now, each map series will have different maps, thematic maps. They won't always be the same. Some of them will have some of the same thematics, but they'll be different as well. And if you'll notice here, this interactive legend looks just a little bit different than the primary, than the early learning in the second and third grade one. So if I click on international boundary, it'll show me again what an international boundary is so that the students can get content of what they're looking at on the map. And it also shows what these symbols mean. So whenever they get to any of these symbols with the star, that's the national capital, and then it also explains that. So you can click on anything in the legend again. And then the intermediate political, as you see, it starts to get even more political information than the readiness series has. So let's go to the intermediate physical map. And this is usually the student's first introduction to a physical map, especially if they're doing U.S. history in 5th grade, explorations. This will be their first content for that. And then if you can notice here, now we have colors to show what forest is, what grass is, tundra and ice, shrub or desert. Okay, so this again is the intermediate physical. Before that was the intermediate political. And those are the 4th, 5th grade maps. Now let's go into some secondary maps here. Let's go into the land cover series. Now this is the cover of land now after man has affected it. So again, you'll have the legend that kind of looks like that physical series with the colors that show, you know, the desert, the broadleaf forest, the needle-leaf forest, the glacier. And a lot of times teachers might like to use this in earth science as well. This is the land cover map. And then we're going to go to the sculptural relief series. Now this is an elevation map. So this map shows highlands and lowlands. If we look at this legend, now you can see that it shows elevation above sea level in feet and in meters. So we can click on this and then we can see what each different color means for this. Okay. And then again, now you see some different thematics over here. You see growing season, you see population, precipitation. And now we're going to go to our last map series, and this is our last secondary map. So we looked at for secondary land cover, sculptural relief, which is the elevation, and now we're going to go to the political relief series. Now this is our secondary political map, and this has even more information on it. And as we scroll into the map, they'll provide even more information as we keep going. So as you can see, it continues to populate more and more information. So that's what StrataLogica means. It means layers of learning, strata in Logica. So layers, the learning is in the layers. So that's what's meant by StrataLogica. So as we go deeper and deeper into maps, layers and layers of information will uncover. Okay? So those are our different map series that I wanted to take you through. I wanted to also show you that each map series, whether it be reference map or historical map, also has a 2D map. So if you are familiar with those kind of pull-down maps that you have in your classroom, you'll see this looks very similar to what we added here. So if you are missing a pull-down map, you will have that opportunity to have a 2D map as well in your collection when you get StrataLogica. So we can scroll in and you see it caches very beautifully and the colors are very nice and clear here. And on here, I'll give you the first introduction to your toolbar here. You'll see a couple different tools here. You'll see a map marker, and we can pick the different colors and we can circle different areas. This also works very, very well with your interactive whiteboard, okay? We also have a symbol tool, so we can put buildings on the map. We can put current events, land use, numbers, if you'd like. We can number the areas. We also have transportation, so we can get a little boat here, put it in the water, and then you can left click on it and move it to wherever you need it to go, or you can kind of animate it as you're talking. So those are a few tools. We also have a text tool. So you'll be able to use these tools in the 3D version as well, but I wanted to kind of give you the first introduction to this. So we can pick a color, and we can label it Kim's map. And we have that here. So I probably should have picked a better color than yellow, but you get the idea. So we can have a text tool too, and then we have an eraser tool. So you can go through and you can erase anything that you need to be erased, okay? So with the 2D maps as well, let me scroll back out of here and we can erase all of those off the map. You'll be able to see that you can not also have a map of the world, but you can have a map of the United States if you need to. You can have a map of Africa, Asia, the Middle East. So any of those regions come as well. So there's a lot of information and content and tools that you can use in StrataLogica for your students. And I can search from here from political relief, and I can go to any other series that I need to go to as well. Okay? Now, this in this 2D section, this is where we'll also find our state map. So if you're going to use a state map, this is where you'll also find your state map in the 2D section here. So here's Illinois, there's Michigan, Indiana. So whatever state that you need to use or whatever state that you're in, this will be available in your 2D section. Okay? So this is the 2D map. So all I did was click on this 3D here to go back to the 3D. This is where I went, and this is how I can scroll back and forth right here between 3D and 2D. Okay? So now I want to show a couple of thematic maps. So let me go to the political relief series. And we're going to look at a couple of different thematics here. Okay? And at this time, I'm going to take the opportunity to show you the dual map viewer, where you see these double dots here. I'm going to click on that, and that's going to split the screen. And if you notice, if I scroll into one, it's going to scroll the other one in as well. And that's because right now I have them chained together here. There's a lock right here where you see this green button. And so if I do something to one, it'll manipulate the other side. So if I take that off, then now I can move one and the other won't move. So let's look at a couple thematics here. We'll look at the climate map on this side. And then we'll go ahead and we'll go to this side of the map and we'll look at population. So now I have a climate versus population, and now we can speak to the students about how climate affects population. So we can look in this area right here, and we can see the color. It says it's desert. It's a dry climate. It has areas that are dry all year long. And then we can look over here for population, and we see that this color here has under 2 people per kilometer or under 5 people per square mile. So not many people live in these areas. And we can kind of go into high order thinking skills and critical thinking as to why, you know, these people are not living in these areas. Okay, so these are thematics. You can use them side by side. I want to take this opportunity too to show you another feature that we have here. If we are talking about the Sahara Desert and the students have no clue how big the Sahara Desert is, we can take the ruler tool and we can pull that over to the end of the desert, and we can see that it's a little over 3,000 miles over here. So if we go over here, let's say we can go to the United States. Let's take that thematic off there so that we can see it very clearly. And let's measure over to the end. Here, and we see that the whole United States is a little over 2,500 miles. So we see that the Sahara Desert is bigger than the whole United States. So if that can give a little context to the students as to how big the Sahara Desert is, the ruler tool is great for that. Also for many math applications, you can do cross-curricular activities with it as well to see distance, to see how long or who drove the furthest. You can use the ruler tool for many different applications that you'd like. Okay, so I'm also going to show you another way to use the dual maps that some teachers like to use. And we'll go over here and we'll go over to Europe. And let's scroll in so that we can see Italy. Very nice over here. And then on this side, I'll also take this opportunity to be able to show the search button. And it'll take us down into Italy, into the Colosseum. So then now what a lot of teachers like to do is they'd like to show places relative to where they are. Because a lot of times students don't understand where it is in the world that they're looking, especially if they're going down into the ground level of a map. I think the dual map viewer would be great to show them where we are in the world and go straight to the ground level. And that search button as well, you can do landmarks, you can put in the White House, you can put in addresses, just like a normal search for a satellite view. Okay? All right, so we're going to close out of this, and we are going to get into some historical maps. So there are, in StrataLogica, there are, depending on what package you get, there's 32 world history maps and 32 U.S. history maps. So we're going to look at a couple of those world history and U.S. history maps here. And I'm going to scroll down to, let's look at European exploration. And again, like I explained, each one of these maps has a map legend as well. So you'll be able to see the map legend for each one of these. So if I click on it, this is interactive as well. So if I click on trade route, it'll give me information on this, the Portuguese expedition, the Spanish expedition, and the English expedition. Now, historical maps are maps of history in that time, so you can't take any of this the information off. However, you can still use the toolbar to make the map come alive even more, or to add or to mark things up as well that you like, add different things in there that I'll show you with the push pin, but you're able to do that as well. So we're going to look at a couple of these. This is the Age of Exploration, and this is a map that goes all the way around. Some of them do that, and some of them only have a specific area depending on what the topic is. Let's take a look at another world history map. And we'll look at the Silk Road. And again, this has information embedded in here, and it talks about the Silk Road. There's also call-outs, if you notice on these maps here. And it has in order 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth, where you can click on it, and then they give you more information on these maps. Okay. So you can take a look at this map really quickly. Okay, so we'll look at a couple of U.S. history maps. Look at the 13 colonies. This is a very popular map that teachers like to use for the 13 colonies. And again, here's the legend here. And then I'll show you one more map for the U.S. And we'll look at slavery and the economy. We'll look at information on corn and wheat, also with textiles. So a lot of information embedded into these historical maps as well. Okay, so now we're going to go back and we're going to talk about the custom view. And we'll go to the political release series. So now that we're at the political release series, I want to have this opportunity also to show you here that now you see this arrow pointing over. We're looking at the world here, but in this one, it doesn't really show the United States politically as well. So if I click on the United States over here, I'll be able to see it broken out politically by states even better. So I'm going to add a couple things to this map. I'm just going to draw on it a little bit. Fix the thickness. We'll pick a couple buildings here and put it on the map. And then this will give me the opportunity to also show a push pin. So here we can add local resources. So anything that you have as far as on your desktop, in your folders that you like to add here, pictures, you can do that with a push pin. You can also add a web resource into it. And if we can mute ourselves, that'd be awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us. The YouTube, Flickr, and Vimeo, you can also add web resources. All you have to do is so easy. Just when you hit the share button, you paste the embed code, and voila, your video is in here or your picture. And then we can style the map so we can say how big we want this push pin to be and what color. And then we'll just put test. And then done. So then there's the push pin. So there are your tools. We have the marker tool. We have the symbols tool here. We can also put text on the map. as you saw in the 2D map. And then the push pin tool. So those are the different tools there. We can also take the labels off. So this is the settings tool, this gear here. If you notice, I took the labels off, and this is where you can actually go into your symbols tool, and you can place numbers there. So if you're doing whole class instruction and you are doing any tests, you can label the map with numbers, have their paper out, or whatever they're doing. You can use this if you're using this as a projection in front of the screen. Okay? So we are going to save. Now, what a custom map is one map view. So we can save this. So I'm going to save this view. I can write a description if I want to, but I'm just going to put example, custom view, and I'm going to save this. So now, where do these things go? We're going to click out of this, and we are going to go into our gallery. So everything that we create is created and saved in what we call our gallery. So this is like your huge database of all your saved work. You can go in there, you can edit things, you can send things out. So here you see the example of the custom view here. If I open that, now you'll see the map that I just created. I can do a few things with this. I can send this to my students if I wanted to. I can send this to my colleagues. If I go to Action and I click Send View, this will be a little bit different on your end. You will see your colleagues, and you'll also see your class or your classes, depending on how many that you have or how many that you've created in the program. Because again, StrataLogica is for teachers and it's also for students. But a lot of times we want to, especially with 21st century learning skills, we want to have students in there using these, creating custom views, creating presentations, and working on projects, which both we'll see in a second. So you can arrow everyone over of your colleagues if you wanted to send this to them, or you can arrow one person over at a time, and then you can click Send, and it'll send to them. So then where does it go? On their home screen under Messages, it'll say your name has sent them a custom view or presentation in this section, and they can click on it, and then it'll automatically save into their gallery. So it's nothing that they have to do. It automatically saves into their gallery. If they don't want it, they can delete it, of course, and if once they get it, they can make it their own. They can edit it and use it themselves. So it's a lot of great things that you can do with StrataLogica. So we are going to look at the presentation and a project, and we're going to go over those couple things very quickly. I'm going to open up a couple of presentations. You can filter by the type. So if your gallery, yeah, Kimberly, we have a question. Awesome. we have a question. He would like to know, is it possible for students to generate maps and then push it back to teachers? Yes. So they can generate these maps, and just how you saw the send button for me to send, they'll have that action button as well, and they can send it back to the teacher. Absolutely.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks. Great question. So you can filter by type here, and we're going to go to a presentation, because if your gallery will look anything like mine, you'll want to filter it. So we'll filter by presentation. And let's go into and let's look at the history of chocolate here. So this is on the discovery map. Here you see the push pin tool. So what you want to do to create a presentation is you just go to New, and then you'll click Presentation. And after that point, it will ask you if you want to title it and then put a description in there. And then it'll take you to this screen where you'll then open up your map series. You'll create your map that you want to start creating on. And if you see here, it's kind of like a PowerPoint presentation. So a presentation is many custom views in one. So a custom view is one view, and a presentation is multiple views. Okay, so right here we see the origin of chocolate here, and it gives information on that. And this is just using the pushpin tool. We've added a picture, and we've added some information into the description of it. This is our slide 2 that says delicious money, and it talks about the Aztecs and starting with chocolate. Goes through, talks about cocoa powder, and it's great to use it on the map because then you can show where it's coming from or where it originated. In the Netherlands, we see a picture here and some information about cocoa powder. And eating chocolate in the United Kingdom, milk chocolate and chocolate making today. So again, this is a presentation. So you can create presentations as well as students can create presentations, and they would have to create presentations individually. I'll show you what a project is where they work collaboratively. But if they were to do their own presentations and come and present it in front of the class, this is what they would do. And it's very easy to add a new slide. All you have to do is click on new slide. You can choose a different map for each slide. You don't have to use the same map. You can even put in historical maps and work with historical maps on there. And if you already have some custom views that you had, you can create a custom view. You can import it in. So once I click import view, it'll open my gallery and I can add my custom views. So I actually like to create custom views and import it in just so that if, in case I wanted to have those views, I'll have that available as well. Okay, so this is one presentation. I want to go and show you another presentation, a more historical presentation. And let's open up the Great Depression and how we can show history using the map. So here you see that I've used some symbols and some text information and a pushpin to even talk about the FDIC here. But now I use the house tool to show over 15% banks closed here. And I took all the labels off the map to make it a more cleaner presentation. And then my second slide is the unemployment rate. So here, this is when you do a new slide, you can put the name of it. I put unemployment rate as well as a description. So I can show both the description and the title if I'd like to here by showing the display here in the sidebar. And if I unclick it, it won't show it anymore. I have to take it off. Then you might have an Americans on Relief to show soup kitchens, children in line for soup kitchens, maybe incorporate the Dust Bowl and some prevailing winds for the Dust Bowl. And that might be on the ground level that you might show it. Okay? So before I get into projects, let me stop and ask, are there any questions about presentations? And just as we had for custom maps, you can send these as well to colleagues or to students to view. And it has been used also in a flipped classroom situation where you send these out to students ahead of time before you guys discuss it. Any questions, Cindy? And if not, we'll go on to projects.
Nope, we're in the clear. You can move along to projects.
Awesome. All right, let's look at a collaborative project. And it's just asking me, do I want to save my changes because I took some things off of here to display the title and description. I'll just say I'm going to discard them. And if I want to save it, I can save it. So I'm going to go back into my gallery. I'm going to filter now my projects. And I can also use the search tool. And I can search for civil rights. Now, here you can either do a project with the whole class or you can separate a project into groups. So here you can see my group 1 project is please provide information regarding the social events that the following people were involved with that impacted the perspective of Americans regarding equality. And Jackie Robinson, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, and Little Rock 9. So I sent that to 4 of my students. Then a group 2 is please provide information on the following events and explain the impact of these events on society: the Montgomery bus boycott, lunch counter protest, March on Washington, and bombing of Birmingham Church. And then for the 3rd group, what I created was please provide information on the following events and explain the impact of these events on society: Plessy versus Ferguson, Brown versus Board of Education, 24th Amendment, and Civil Rights Act. You can also create more groups than this, but these are just the 3 that I created to show for this. We're going to open up the project now. So what you as a teacher would do, again, you would just click on New. Instead of Presentation, you'll click on Project. You'll pick the map that you want the students to use. You'll write the description in this area, and the area will be once you hit New and you title this. So I titled this Civil Rights Group 1. I put in the description what the Group 1 was going to do, and I sent this by action. I sent it to my students. Okay? Now, I see that I'm the teacher that's first. I have David, Jerry, Larry, and Pam doing this here project for Group 1. Now, I can see it as a collaborative project now, but if I just wanted to see what each student did, I can click off the other students. Now, if the student has submitted some information already, you'll see that here. It'll be timestamped when they last submitted this information. So you'll see that Pam hasn't gotten started on this, and then you can take that opportunity to see if she needs any help, or maybe she provided a note here, so we can go over here. And it says, Miss Fudge, I'm really sick, and I'll work on this tomorrow. So here I understand that she's sick. And this is that note section is the way that the students can communicate with each other. Now, this is in real time. So once they're putting things on the map and they're saving it and refreshing, they will be able to see what each of them are doing. Okay? So if I just wanted to see, for instance, what Larry was doing, I can click off David and Jerry because I know that Pam hasn't done any information, and I see that he did the Little Rock 9. And if I click on his information or his push pin, now students can add in videos, they can add picture. He provided his information or his part of the study of these events that happened, and he did the Little Rock 9. If I wanted to see what Jerry did, he did Jackie Robinson over here. He provided information on Jackie Robinson. And the students would probably just have to go and edit and make their push pins a little bit bigger for you to see. And I see that David did Rosa Parks over in Alabama. And he gave some information on here. So here we can look at it collaboratively, and also we can look at each individual work so that you can grade the work for each individual student. So again, a project is now a collaboration between students where they can work together in real time. Does not matter where they are. One can be at home, one can be at the library, one can still be at the school working on it. And as they are saving their information and refreshing, they will be able to see what each person is doing, and they can communicate through the notes section and as they're working together. So that is a collaborative project. Do we have any questions on a project?
Well, not necessarily a project, but we do have a question. This one, I believe, is more about presentations, perhaps. He asks, when compiling custom views, which I believe might indicate a presentation,
correct,
is there a way to save them for a team of teachers?
Yes. So in your gallery, again, you'll have your gallery here. Now, once you filter by your presentation and you open up this presentation here, I'll open that up again for you. If you want to send this to them, now it'll save it to their gallery. If you go to Action and Send Presentation, Yours will look just a little bit different than mine. It'll say colleagues here, and then also it'll have your class or classes, depending on if you have more than one. And you can click on your colleagues, and then you can send it to whichever colleagues that you have. You can send it over to them, or you can send it to everybody if you want.
Okay, so that drop-down list is going to have your students in it as well as your teacher list in it.
Yes, correct.
Is that correct? Okay, okay, I understand.
Yes. So then you can send this to them, and then once they get it, they'll receive it on their home page, and it'll be in their message section that you sent them a presentation, and it automatically saves to their gallery here. So that's how they'll automatically have it. So then everybody you send it to will have it. And under action, once I send it to somebody, I'll show you here.
Yes, so it takes that, it saves as a copy instead of a shared copy.
Yes. Now, once you get it, you can edit it, you can do whatever you like, or you guys can use it as a team in your classes. Now, if I go to has been sent to, this will be the list that shows you who you sent it to make sure that you sent it to. And again, that was just under action, has been sent to, after you sent it, and then it's time stamped when you sent it to those colleagues or students.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Okay. Yes, we do. She would like to know, do you include any topics in world religion?
So with world religion, we don't have a specific world religion topic, but with this platform, you can make it your own. So you can create information in here to where you can get that information. And also, I'm going to show you towards the end, and Cindy, if you can remind me, we're going to look at the community so we can see if there's some other custom views or presentations that have been done with this. But you can create this map, or you can have the world here, and you can put in information using the toolbar on world religions. And again, once that information is saved, it will be saved for you. Okay. In your gallery, so you can use it over and over again. I hope that's helpful for you. Any other questions?
Nope, that's all we have for now.
Okay, so we are going to move on to atlases, the Atlas tab here. So we are going to look, so all of our atlases come digitally as well in StrataLogica in the package. So here you see the Atlas of World History, and in your library, just like you saw the different map series, you'll see the different atlas series here on the map. So you can zoom in here. I can turn the pages here, and I can see the table of contents that are included here. I can also scroll by the thumbnails at the bottom and pick the page, or if I know, because I may have this map and I just want to pick a page that'll take me to 32 and 33. Now, in the historical map, so in the world history and U.S. history map, the secondary map, you will see little mice here where you can, the mouse, the pictures of the mouse, computer mouse icon that you can see, the icons. You can see it'll say more at the World History Atlas, nationalworldhistoryatlas.com. These are where you'll see primary sources and other information here. So if I click on this will open up, and I'll be able to see this is a funeral oration by Pericles. I go back and they're talking about democracy in Athens here. I can see a timeline, so there's timelines available, and this can be printed out as well. And then if I go here, then I see the apology. This is a primary source document on the apology. Okay, so
we would like to know, I have a question on how often are these atlases in the system updated?
So once we update the atlases, we do that very soon afterwards, and we update these in here. So especially if there's a revision of an atlas, we'll update that into our system on our back end. and you'll be able to see that. I'm not exactly sure the exact timeline, but it's very soon after we make the update. We work to update that on the ebook as well.
So they run in concurrent to the paper publication dates, updates.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now I want to show you here, what I did was I clicked on this little pencil and paper, and it says tips and lessons here. This is where you'll see and if any of you are familiar with the student activity book, this is where you will see the lessons on the student activity book. So I can see the contents, I can see Common Core lessons or literacy lessons, depending on which package you get. The student activities without the answers and the student activities with the answers. So again, this will open up as in a PDF form. You will be able to see the information in the activities with the answers, and you can also see it out to print out for your students without the answers. So those are under the tips and lessons, and those are the student activities that go just with the atlas for the teacher. So for every 2-page spread, there will be activities that go with that. There's also 15 Common Core lessons or 15 literacy lessons that go with each atlas. Now the difference is they are the same atlases, but the literacy lessons takes out the Common Core standards that it associates with. Okay, I'm going to move on to charts. We have 8 economics charts and 8 government and civics charts here. So here we see in economics, U.S. government and economy, scarcity and choice, global trade, banking and investing, measuring the economy, supply and demand. You can put all of these also up on your whiteboard, and you can use the marker tool, the symbol tool, and the text tool on these. So we can scroll in. We can look at these a little more deeper. Here is the U.S. Government and Civics series, the Bill of Rights, amending the Constitution, Supreme Court cases, glossary and literature links, U.S. democratic ideals, branches of our government, citizens in action, and from bill to law. So each one of these also has lessons, 3 lessons that go with each of the charts here, where you can click on defining government, and this will be your teacher's guide and notes and how to go through step by step with this activity to use this chart. So just as we saw with the atlas, we'll see lessons that also go with the chart. Okay, and for the elementary series, we have the flag symbols, our flag with the pledge, and the symbols of our country as well. Okay, now outline maps are exactly what they say. They are outline maps. So you can go into your library and you can pick which maps you'd like to add to what we call, again, is our map chooser here. And we can have different maps of different areas, Eastern Africa, Northern Africa, and these also can be printed out, and you can use the toolbar with these as well. So you see the marker tool, symbol tool, and text tool. Okay. Any questions before we are going to be wrapping this up, and I'm going to go into community, the community section. Do we have any questions before we go into the community section?
No, we're good to go.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So on your home page where you saw your different tabs here on the front, let me take a moment just to go into the library too here so that you can see how easy it is to add or remove a map. Here's the different series. You can have in your map chooser your menu order, and you can move that around as you like by just pulling it up or down and selecting where you want to put it. You can remove it from your chooser if you no longer want to use that map, but you will be able to customize your map chooser as to what different, here's the state maps, what different map series, the U.S. history series, and if it says add to chooser, that means it's not in your chooser yet. But if I do click on it, I can see a preview of the map here before I click on it by selecting the magnifying glass here for preview. And then if I like that map, then I can add it to my chooser. If I decide that I no longer want it, I can remove it from my chooser. And you can do that with your maps, atlases, charts, and your outline map. So you can pick whatever area you'd like to look at for your outline map, and you can add different outline maps to those as well. Okay. And StrataLogica comes with user guides that take you step by step through everything that we have. We also have webinars that we do to take you into a deeper dive with StrataLogica as well. And that's on our socialstudies.com/learning page. And the community will be listed on your home page here. So if I go to communities here, I can see all the different selections of, these are what some teachers share. You can share different custom views and presentations, and these are only custom views and presentations. You can see who it was shared by, how many people viewed it, how many copies, how many people copied it to their gallery. And we can search. Let's search President's Day. Now let's look at this President's Day is coming. I see that who it was shared by, 13 views, 8 people copied it since February. I can click on it, and then I can see a preview. So I can go through each one of these maps, and we see on slide 1, there's a history of President's Day, information on that they provided, as well as the second slide. It looks like they went down into the satellite view of the White House, and they added some president fun facts, jobs of the president, and changes in the president. And the third slide here is, I'm not sure what information this is, but if you want to copy this to my gallery, you can copy it here. You can change the name if you like to. You can change the description. You can copy it, and it'll be right in your gallery that we showed earlier in the map section. Then it'll come in your gallery. And actually, I can do that now. I can copy it. And it says this presentation has been copied to your gallery. I can go to my gallery, loading that. President is going to be at the top, the one that you just copied. We can open up that. And then now we can make this our own. So I see there's a video in Kentucky, Abraham Lincoln's birthplace. Watch the video in Virginia, George Washington's birthplace, and answer the questions under George Washington's video. So then the teacher or whoever provided this also had a list of activities to do as well. You can add, you can take out, and you can make this your own once you get there. So you can add new slides, you can take information out. So that is the community section. So if you're having some trouble getting or finding information or trying to see how other people have provided or made custom views or presentations, you can start here with the gallery and get some ideas and copy some things to your gallery. Okay. So now we are going to wrap up. We're going to open up the lines for any final questions or comments. I do want to show that on here on the home page, there is at www.StrataLogica, and that's StrataLogica.com. There is get a free 30-day trial here where you can sign up for a free 30-day trial to use the program. And now I want to open up the lines for any final questions or comments.
It did unmute everyone from my side, so they are able to speak. They unmuted.
Okay, so we'll take just a moment to see if there's any questions, and if not, we'll wrap up.
I have a question. What are the different packages available?
Okay, so we have a K5 package. We have and that only has, and I can I'll take you through this just a little bit. That's a great question.
And is this Chromebook compatible?
Yes, so you can use these on Chromebooks, you can use them on iPads, yes.
Mac. I also would like, go ahead.
So I'll explain the packages. So for the early learning, that comes with the K5 package comes with the early learning series, which was the K1, the readiness series, which is the second, third, and the intermediate physical and political maps, which are fourth and fifth. It comes with the atlases. You'll get the Jumbo Atlas for kindergarten, Black Buddy for first, Nitronaut for second, the Map Champ for third, the Map and Globe Skills for fourth grade, and the Our Country's History for fifth grade. So that's what comes in the package for the K5. We have a K12 package, which includes every single thing that you've seen here. Or we have a secondary, a 6th through 12th grade package where you just have the 3 maps, and that's the sand cover, the political relief and social relief, as well as the 4 atlases. You'll have the World Atlas, the Desk Atlas, the Atlas of World History, the Atlas of United States History, and the 32 World History maps, the 32 U.S. History maps, 8 governance charts, and 8 civics charts.
Okay, great. And it is compatible. We mentioned that. Another question was, how much does it cost, and how many students can you be using at once? I'd like to feel that if that's okay with you, Kimberly.
Sure. Sure.
I wanted to just let you know that the K5 package for a single teacher for 1 year starts at $100. So your K5 package for one teacher and all of his or her students. So we don't price them out on a per student basis. It's per teacher or per site. So for one teacher for 1 year and all of his or her students is $100. And I think that's all the questions I see in the queue. Does anybody have any other questions?
Yeah, and I'd just like to add that we can also get you in contact with your local curriculum specialist if you like a specialized quote, where you can, if you have a certain amount of teachers, or if you would like site license, and we also do multiple years. So if you'd like more information on that, please let us know. You can email us at access@socialstudies.com and let us know that you want your curriculum specialist to contact you. Again, that's access, ACCESS, @socialstudies.com. And we can put you in contact for more information with your curriculum specialist.
That's exactly right. Yep. And that is a K5. Another question came in for high school teachers. The K5 package for $100 is for kindergarten to 5th. The high school teacher package is a 6 to 12 package, and that would be for a single teacher would be $300. But again, you should definitely contact your curriculum specialist, and we can be more than happy to put you into contact with them, and they can work with you on the best, the best solution for your school, because we do offer site licenses on a per per building. Yes, we mean by school. That is correct. When we have a question, when you say site license, is that by school or district? And we do mean by school. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? I want to make sure that we get all of your questions answered before we wrap up. Okay, so I don't think we have any other questions. I want to thank you all for joining us today for this StrataLogica presentation. It was awesome to have you guys join us, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you. Bye-bye.